Wow, that's actually a really good trailer, if I do say so myself.
That is an awesome trailer.
All
Is
right,
it
well, thank you.
possible that we could get that to post that?
Oh yeah, yep, it's been posted already.
I didn't get that one. You didn't send me
Yeah, I did. Anyway.
that. I have one of them that I posted not just recently.
I will make sure you get that, Mr. Shine, because
Mm-hmm.
so thank you guys for coming here. So we're about to start the Heart and Soul of Magic month with Poe's Magic Theater. So for our episode of Poe's Magic Academy this week, we have Randy Shine. And no, please, I apologize. I should have asked you before the show started, but we got so caught up in showing off magic tricks, virtual magic tricks. What's the proper pronunciation of your last name, please?
Sony, just like the company.
I thought that was too obvious. I should have just went with my instincts. You probably get that all the time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'll get like Sunny a lot.
All right. Well, thank you both for coming here today. You know, so we're gonna cover some interesting topics, but also we're here to blatantly and shallow promote your shows this month. Get that out of the way. But yeah, it's the last year, I believe, the Heart and Soul of Magic took place in June, and this year is that correct? It was in June, and this year is in February. And obviously, the motivation of that is to represent and honor Black History Month this year. But the interesting topic to discuss, of course, as African American magicians, and I thought we'd open up with the hard-hitting one. Is that do you feel sometimes that people only reach out to you in February? Is that a thing that comes up? Boy, I just hit you over the head hard with that one, didn't I? I just brought that up right away.
February is normally a busy month, and it's not in terms. Yes, part of it has to do with Black History Month, and people reach out for several reasons. Let's put it that way. For example, individuals who are African American, who are Black, or from the African diaspora. This is a month that we all celebrate, and it's information that we know about history that's normally not taught in the educational system. So they reach out to us, or at least for me, and I'm sure other African American magicians, and for various programming, whether you're a magician, singer, or whatever, to celebrate who we are in the fullness and in the entirety of it all. It's not that we don't do it all year round, but because this is the particular month that has been deemed African American History Month, Black History Month, the shortest month of the year, right? That happens. Then there's other people who are not of African American descent, who, this is a time without to hire an African American magician for our event. And without getting too political, for the most, I'm not gonna say for the most part, some of those reasons is just performative. Like, we want to be cool, we want to sound like, but any other time of the year, we are not invited or hired to perform in those spaces or for those events. And so it's kind of limiting from one perspective, or from one compared to another group.
It's one of those things that shouldn't be political, but it is political, but it shouldn't be political. Mm-hmm. No, what is your thoughts on that? And thank you again for being here today.
Of course, thank you for having me. I think Randy and I share very similar sentiments, and I was talking to it with a couple of friends the other day too. But I was kind of like, I mean, if the only time that people are hitting you up is in February, where they go, "Oh shit, Black people exist." Oh no, Black people exist. Like we need to find them for something. It's always like we're here year round. So I think that is a sentiment that Randy and I both share as well. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to turn down a check, but it's nice to have that check all year round. Not in a particular month.
It's nice to know that 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 when that the shows will reach out to you at other times in the year and stuff like that as well. I think that's the one with certain things where you're kind of like, is this just a February thing? Is this a continuing thing? Like what's the goal? So
right. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yes, I don't mind it
and
being.
you can have black performers all year round. That's
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, of course it's it's going to be a little political based on things that have happened in recent memory. Of course, it's and it kind of, I think that puts a magnifying glass over it to some degree. It's an unavoidable topic. It's in a past year and a half. To say the least.
You know what? There's a history of this, and it's not just dealing with particular Black History Month. But if you look at entertainers from the past, I mean, my parents, my grandparents, and my great-grandparents, and you've heard the stories of artists, particularly in the Harlem Renaissance era. It was cool that they could perform in their own communities, but when they had to go outside their community, they had to go through the back door. They couldn't eat in certain places. They couldn't stay in certain hotels. But it was okay for them to come on that stage and perform in that area, in that theater. But they didn't have access to everything that involves or that encompasses that performance as their white counterparts. And so it kind of morphed and changed over the years to something else. And so we have Black History Month, and I'm not saying all, but they're individuals or organizations will say, hey, let's hire a Black performer for Black History Month, but any other time of the year, And I'm not saying that it's intentional, but this is how ingrained these social political issues are in the fabric of this country, and so and to the point where it's subconscious and it's conscious for some people. They're doing things and they don't really realize it. Much like microaggressions. That's something that, and if someone doesn't know what microaggressions are, you can look it up. But basically, it's when someone says, "Oh, you're pretty good looking for a Black person." What does that mean? Like for a Black person, and they may not mean anything by it, but it's not a compliment. Or I'm sure Noah gets this, "Oh, you speak pretty well to be a Black person."
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like,
so well spoken.
So it's those types of things, and it's very complex. It's a very complex. It's not a system, but it's a very complex issue, and we talk about it. Some people are not honest about how they're feeling. Some people don't want to talk about it because they feel this guilt. But you have to have these discussions in order to get over it and to affect change. First you talk, then you apply. You just can't talk about it and just say, "Hey, I talked about it, I'm cool." Much like, "Hey, I hired a Black performer during Black History Month. Oh, we're cool." No, not really.
Yep. Well, it's the maybe someone didn't know that when you comment in a section, we can read those comments because we got a interesting one. What you go click? There's a box in the corner that says comments. If you click on it, look at the bottom comment.
No, I do not see that. I see mute, share, stop, scan.
It should be in the side.
No, I just
it says what color got to. Oh, you can pull it up. There we go. Black magic came first. LOL. What?
Okay, and see, this is what I'm talking about. Roy Brownlow. Okay, you and your bland self, my friend. God bless your bland unconscious soul. Yes, I did say that because I'm unapologetically for how I feel about that. This topic. It has a lot to do with it. I would ask you, did you know the first American-born magician was a man of color? And then I would ask you, do you know why he was never celebrated throughout the histories of magic? It wasn't not until 2 years ago that a major book was written about him. Now, we know a lot about Houdini, Thurston, and all these other magicians of the past, but the very first American-born magician was a black man of mixed race. Yeah. Secondly, do you know about Emil Clifton, who invented the ring and string effect? Do you know that he was not allowed at the IBM convention because he was black? And he served in the military as a Tuskegee Airman fighting for this country. So when you say, what does color have to do with magic? It has a lot to do with magic if you look at the history of magicians. There were a lot of magicians who were banned or not allowed to perform in certain venues. So they had to perform in something that we call the Chitlin circuit. And that was a circuit that was limited to only people of color. There were some fair-skinned magicians who had to disguise themselves as being from the derogatory term that they used at the time was the Orient. And they were more acceptable when they dressed and acted in character without letting anyone know that they were really a person of color. And there's a few magicians, when they discovered that they were really a black person and he really wasn't a person from Asian descent, they ran him out of town. What does color have to do with magic? Well, you tell me, when's the last time you saw a featured article on a major magazine? Or can you count? I can count the number of times a featured cover article of an African-American magician was written in the magazine. I could count the times. There are more white men, there are more women, there are more Asians on here, on there. So race has a lot to do with it. And this is not just limited to magic. You have to look at the whole entertainment industry. So it speaks volumes of that. And it's not to be polarizing. And as I said, if I'm bowling down your alley and knocking down some pins, that's something that you're going to have to deal with. Mm-hmm. Okay. And now, don't get me wrong. I'm not begging, crying, or pleading. For the past 16 years, I've been a full-time magician and I've made a path for myself. And people of my community in the entertainment business, we've always made a way for ourselves. We're just pointing out the inequality, conscious and unconscious. And so we can have this conversation, and it's a difficult conversation, and we can recognize the issue, and then we can rectify the issue. There are some organizations that are doing things about it. Number one, Pose Magic. Pose Magic have, not just because of this, prior to any of the recent social unrest, Pose Magic has had magicians of color. They supported magicians of color. And it's not one of those things, oh, let's just get someone because they're a magician of color. I'm not saying that. There are some good magicians of color, so let's get them in here too. Let's have them have the same opportunities. And Pose Magic has always afforded that since the inception of Pose Magic Theater. And there's some other organizations and theaters and agents who are doing the same thing. Monday Night Magic has been doing that for years. So it's not about that. Actually, one of the founding members of Monday Night Magic is Frank Brentz. If you don't know who Frank Brentz is, look him up. He is so influential in magic. It's incredible. God rest his soul. And so, yes, there are pockets of organizations, venues, and individuals who are supporting this. but then it's also this glass ceiling that we're always trying to push through.
Yeah.
I remember when a magician, I was inquiring about performing at an event, and someone literally said to me, "My clients will not accept you because of your hair." Think about that. Think about that. Okay, but that's fine. I wasn't upset, but it was deeper than just the style of my hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Roy, fortunately, I just double checked, and he's not friends of mine or anyone I know. Literally, his friends list in Magic is like 6 people apparently. But he went full racist a few seconds ago. I deleted his comment.
No. Who said that? That's fine. That's
Roy Brownlow. So
what did he say? No, that's fine.
I can't even read it back to you anymore. It's gone. I had to get rid of it, unfortunately. He didn't drop any slurs, but he went into Jewish conspiracy theories and
oh man. This is what we have to deal with within the Magic community. Even beyond the Magic community. Yeah. And I wish that this conversation didn't go there, but I welcome individuals who have who are misguided like that, and I love to talk to them, and we could go back and forth all day about that.
Yeah, I mean, granted, there are, of course, and it's not an excuse, of course, but there are people that are raised in communities and areas of the country, or especially every area has places like that, especially down south and that sort of thing. Where they're raised in an environment and they don't know any better. But at some point, you have to watch another news channel, or read a book or something like that.
Right now, we see a lot of situations where, for me, like I was just on Fool Us, and the comment section. I know I've talked to Randy about this, but like the comment section on that got angry, and then got like just bitter, and then like said some racist things, but like consistently. And really the main thing that set people off was a black guy on stage saying, "Hey, I miss Obama." But like, to me, I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, well, one, he was the first black president. That is one of the most influential things you can see being a black teenager growing up. Like, that was huge. So of course I'm gonna miss Obama when we transition into something much worse. But then second, to top that off, it's like the thing that we're able to do that Magic hasn't seen a lot is put in a perspective of and for other people that may not have been into Magic or as interested in Magic. So it opens up the art form. It makes it something that is more inclusive, and it makes it something where suddenly young kids are seeing magicians that look like them, and now they're growing up with role models that actually look like them and represent the ideas that they have. So it is important. It is an important thing in Magic. It's an important thing outside of Magic. It's the same thing that, like, when I see a cartoon like Static Shock growing up, I'm like, oh, the greatest superhero, Static Shock. When you see kids seeing Black Panther now, and they're like, oh, who's your favorite superhero? Black Panther. It's that idea and that reinforcement through entertainment of representation. So yeah. It's super important.
Spot on, Noah. Spot on. Representation matters, and diversity matters, because with diversity, there's growth, because you're getting different perspective and things can grow. But I'll even take it not a different perspective, but something that those who are listening in the Magic community may understand or can.
Before you say that, I just want to say that Roy probably has the worst color changing scars routine in Magic if he's a hobbyist. Yeah,
it changes from white to white, correct?
That's right. But go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry.
Magic clubs get a bad rap. Magic clubs get a bad rap because they're like, oh, it's nothing but a bunch of old guys here. And, Magic clubs are diminishing in numbers. Actually, I will be doing a lecture for a Magic club. And they said, we only have 10 members in our club. So think of it this way. A young African-American kid sees an African-American magician on television, social media, or whatever. and gets inspired by that. That young kid wants to learn more magic. That young kid finds out there's a local SAM or IBM ring or club in their community. That kid joins the club. Now you're adding membership to the club. You're adding young people, getting them involved in the club where they could be mentored and learn about the art of magic, whether they want to be full-time, part-time, or hobbyists or whatever. But it helps the clubs on a local level with the hopes that it will help these organizations on a national level. This is not, I'm not talking about this is not an indictment on those organizations, but it's for people like that gentleman, whatever his name is, if I want to use that word, gentleman.
Roy.
Yes.
Roy.
It's going to be interesting when they replay this because,
it's up forever. I mean, once this is over, it's up forever.
Yeah, but the way I'm responding, people are like, well, Randy, you're really harsh and mean. And I'm hey, the way I look at it, if you attack, I'm going to defend myself. But it helps the clubs, it helps the organizations. And these organizations are doing some incredible things. Arlen Solomon is doing a great job with the SAM and trying to expand the SYM branch of the SAM and get more young people. And I've had conversations with Arlen about how can we reach communities of color to get them more interested in magic, the young people. Because it's not just magic for magic's sake. For everyone, there's a lot of skills, transferable skills you learn from magic: communication, cooperation, creativity,
and
routining. All those things are transferable skills that can help young people, children, teenagers, and they could take those skills and apply to other areas in their life if they have no desire to be involved in magic after when they become adults. But those skills are going to stay with them. And so when you have people like Arlen Solomon, who's actively trying to expand the reach to young magicians, it's important. Representation matters. And so from that perspective, so we need to stop thinking about just tricks. That's what trivializes what we do. Magic is a great, big art, and like other art forms, it can speak to societal issues and address those issues. And it can also be fun in the way that it resonates with everyone.
Well, it's like one of your personal. I'm sorry, Noah, go ahead.
Like, we're humans too, and I think it's that type of thing where it's like, I see a comedian go on stage and they express parts of their life. I feel like magicians shouldn't be sectioned off into being like, well, you got to stick to the magic. Your presentation needs to be about how your dad went to China, came back with 4 rings, and then you're going to link them. That's the only way we do this trick. We're not changing it for anyone. Like, no, we need to move things forward. We need to put new perspectives into magic, and we need to speak what makes us who we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unique and different. The one of your heroes, Randy, is Hiawatha.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, amazing storytelling magician who was able to do these little miracles talking and performing at the same time. Very short, direct stories. Was able to convey myth, folklore, legends, and tradition into these moments of absolute wonder. There's just not enough video of him, out there right now. Wish he'd come out of retirement.
Yeah. Hiawatha, I didn't get started. My interest in magic didn't happen until I was in graduate school. And just to give you an abbreviated version of that, a fellow magician in school handed me a Genie magazine, and I saw the cover of it, and it was Hiawatha dressed in his African garb. And I was like, wow, there's someone that looks like me who's on the cover of a magazine. And it wasn't until approximately like 8 years or so later, maybe give or take 3 years, I met Hiawatha personally at a magic seminar, not a convention, it was a magic seminar in Pennsylvania. And from there, we just connected. And Hiawatha is he's one of those individuals whose performance styles supersedes magic, because he brings in theater, he brings in storytelling, folklore, and he wraps all of that into his presentation. He was one of the original performers on the Heart and Soul of Magic. We'll talk about that, because we have the Heart and Soul of Magic virtually coming up basically all this month at Pose Magic Theater. Any other questions? I saw Frank. Frank said something. I know yep. Frank is Frank. Yes, he is a fellow entertainer, magician.
From the Philly area, right?
From the Philly area. He's a sideshow expert. He's done some great things here and beyond Philadelphia in sideshows. And Frank is one of those guys where when we met back in the day, we came up through the trenches together on the streets of Philadelphia performing. Bristol, Pennsylvania, which is outside of Philadelphia, in Philadelphia. And yeah, I love you, brother. He's a good dude. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I've met him a couple of times. And, you know, we have some mutual friends. He hangs out with Paul Prater, too. So, yeah. There it is. But yeah, I remember you told me we had a discussion about a week ago, I think it was, in which you expressed that a feeling I had as well, and I think you mentioned in an interview that African American, or people of color who are in magic and the mystery arts in general have to probably work a little harder, definitely work a little harder to get where they want to be and to be successful. Do you want to? You had more thoughts on that, but I would rather you say that than me.
Yeah. Well, let me defer to Noah, because I talk a lot. Because you know what, I like to get a young perspective of it, and sometimes our points of view are not similar, so it's interesting to see the diversity, at least within the magic community. I don't know Noah's thoughts on this, and then I'll give my thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting thing coming from the standpoint of being in magic and being a performer, because you kind of hear two different sides. You hear the side that you hear from your audiences, and then you get the side from other magicians, and they almost sound very similar, which comes down to, oh, I've never seen a black magician before, which I think we hear so often at gigs. I'll get that a lot. Or like they'll be like, oh, we're going to call you Black Magic, and I'll call you Black Magic. So you run into a lot of this perception that people have, I think. And that's one, it's one thing that we're trying so hard to fight against. And I feel like other performers, when they go into shows, don't always have that same perception. It's more of just kind of like going in and doing the magic. And I feel like we almost have like an extra step that we go through first to be like, all right, like,
yes, yeah. It's one of those
things almost, I think,
and it's based on this archetype of what a magician looks like, physically look like. So if someone hires a magician, a black magician, and we have this magician, now we walk on stage, and for some individuals, all these things are just running through their head. First of all, I've never seen a black magician before. Actually, that's an opening line in my show. I'm like, I know what you're all thinking. I've never seen a black magician before. And it gets a laugh. Why does it get a laugh? Because there's truth in comedy. But then it's like, well, is he going to be good? It's this thing. And I'm not sure if it's going to be good. However, I must say this, and I thought Noah was going to go there. I've discovered that there's a community of black magicians who are doing their thing and actively breaking barriers. And you know where they are? It's where I first heard of Noah. Social media. And social media has, I'm not going to say maybe it makes it easier or not, but there are a lot of young black magicians literally all around the world. We have Babs out in Nigeria who's doing some phenomenal things out there. We have Noah, we have Cameron, We have RJ
With Isaiah.
doing some incredible things here. We have Mervant. We have a couple magicians down in South Africa. I just discovered this trio in Burundi, and so you're seeing this whole community using social media to do their thing and show their talents and skills and their creativity and reaching a vast audience. And so it's
and building
not
that community too. I think we're finally getting a way that we're all sort of continuously in touch in some way and always have contact to each other. And it's a lot less personal than having to ask for somebody's phone number than just like finding them on Instagram and being like, hey, what's up, man? And that is one of the first places that I saw Randy. And then we met in person, and it was amazing just to have somebody to sit down with and talk to about a lot of questions that other magicians don't have the answer to or don't see things from the same perspective. So it's also really helpful to have that support and that community behind you, and it helps you as a performer grow and go further. So,
and so what does that look like? What Noah said. So if I have an idea, because someone would say, well, you can sit down and talk to any magician about something. I'm like, well, not necessarily. So if I'm doing a piece and I'm like, Noah, I'm looking for a piece with a nice vibe, and the message in the piece is subtle, and I'm looking for some music that fits my style. Noah can say, oh, you know what? Check out this track by Fela Kuti. All right. I don't know how many people who know who Fela Kuti is. Or Noah would say, oh, you know what? Childish Gambino has this song, this track. And so because those are African-American artists that Childish Gambino is, but like Fela Kuti and some other artists may not be mainstream Black artists, but people in the Black community know, they will be able to help another Black artist or entertainer would know how to guide me in a direction. But also, it's not just with music, it's just with other things. It could be with style of dress, or it could be coming up with a concept or a script for an effect that's going to really resonate with that performer. And that's important, and I'll tell you why. At least for me, it's because authenticity in your performance is very important. And this is part of a lecture that I talk about being authentic on stage, whatever you are, whoever you are. And if you're not authentic, the audience can see right through it.
Yep. And you're talking about sincerity, conveying that, bringing that across, the playing up a character and that sort of thing. It's very hard to accomplish, having, doing an entire act and that sort of thing. By being yourself and being genuine, you create a sincerity that resonates and connects with the audience. So that makes a lot of sense. And by the way, no, I really enjoyed your Penn and Teller Fullis. I didn't want to get a chance to say that. It was really, really good. Yep.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
it also taught me that I can do fire if I'm ever on that show. I'm really happy to know that.
No, I think you
Matt Marshall out in the side, waiting, just watching, hoping I would do something so that he could have some excitement in his day.
Noah, are you one of the first people who actually used fire during their Penn and Teller's performance?
I think it was a fire eater on there once.
They had one guy who lit like an envelope on fire. I remember that.
Okay. So you may be one of the few, because I know, doing fire even in a regular show, it's just like, whew.
It was actually specifically because there was not a live audience that we were able to make that work.
That's good.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, that was a good spin on it. I like that.
That was excellent. Yeah. So we talked about all this stuff, and Roy just hit a hot button. So, let's shift into some positive things, and what's going on this month, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to address one more controversial thing. It was you had some thoughts recently about not exposure, but the disclaimers and products and that sort of thing.
Yes. This is a conversation that I know Noah and I had for at least 3 days.
Yep.
And I went from one side to still, I'm not sure. And this for the viewing magic community. I just want to know your thoughts about this. Type in the chat or whatever.
Yeah.
It seems like over the past maybe 10, 15 years, someone will create a magic effect. And
I actually think it's been around longer than that.
Maybe longer than that. And but I think it started to catch on more. And the creator, either before in an advertisement or after you purchase the effect, says that there's some restrictions, some performance restrictions, meaning that you're only allowed to perform this live. You're not allowed to perform this on television, radio, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, any other social media platform, current or yet to be created, without the written consent of the creator. I struggle with that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I struggle with that on the rationale why. If you're going to create something and you're going to release it to the community, and they purchase it, shouldn't that person who purchased the effect be able to perform it at their own discretion in the venue? I really haven't heard a response, even though I respect any creator who has that in with the product that they release. I really haven't heard a rationale that was really like, okay, that makes sense. Now, I had a conversation with a friend and several friends about this. And one of the things they said, well, this is not unique. It's unique in the magic community, because the magic community, when someone traditionally puts something out, go ahead, put it out, perform it. You paid your money for it, have fun. But this is not unique if you step out of the magic community when people have created other things, not magic related. This is not, like I said, it's not unique. It's quite common. So this is a thing, and I'd like to know what what performers and people think of that, and what is your rationale on someone creating something, you're purchasing it, and you're very restrictive on where and how you can perform it, particularly when we're living in a more virtual world now, a more online world, even before COVID. A lot of things were happening on YouTube and Instagram and other platforms, and so we were moving into this virtual venue of performing. So, and I think we're going to continue to move in that direction. I'm pretty sure we're going to continue to move in that convention, even when COVID is over or we have more control over it. This virtual world of performances is not going to go away, whether it's streaming, once again, or whether it's one of those other platforms like YouTube. Noah, your thoughts, because I know we went back and forth, and I've been contemplating this.
Yeah.
Wow.
I am sort of in the middle as well, and I think that it depends on a few different factors. I think there are certain tricks that once they're out there, they're kind of just for everyone, and it's kind of tough where as magicians we draw the line between like, because it's all kind of like social contracts really. Like we can't fully legally, I believe, do anything if someone were to take the thing in question and go and do it on TV. But it's like a gentleman's agreement between you and the person you're purchasing it from, saying, look, okay, if you don't want this, I won't do it on TV, but I do want to know why. And I think that in some situations, I think it's because like it's just not the right thing for TV, or you'll see people using the exact presentation or like doing it in a way that gives it away. And then other times, and I was thinking about this after we had talked about it, I think sometimes it's because, and it's not in the case of I think the trick in question, but I think it's a certain company that would do it. But I really feel like they would put products out and then they would say not for TV use, or like does not come with TV rights, because they knew that material would flash or just not work on TV if someone attempted it. And I think that company is closed now. And
Right.
ended. But I really feel like there were so many times where they would say not allowed on TV, and then you'd see it and you'd go, yeah, because that wouldn't work on TV. Yeah, you know.
But that kind of makes sense. In fact, we have a comment on that one. Is Stephanie says, are they creators worried that once it's recorded and out on social media, that people could reverse engineer it without having to pay for it? But I mean, even the creator themselves would have to worry about that, though, if they ever performed it on television, and that certainly has happened.
Right. To answer Stephanie's question, that could be one reason, reverse engineering. But there's some tricks out there, some effects out there that, to answer Stephanie's second part, they will reverse engineer it, and they will be able to create their trick on their own without paying for it. There's some tricks out there you may be able to reverse engineer, but you don't have the equipment or the technology to create it and make it on your own, because it's very elaborate, or it takes a lot of time and skill in order to create that thing, and in some case expensive to do.
Yeah, and some effects get reverse engineered that where the result is the same, but the technique that got there was different.
Right.
Because they didn't know the exact
now that's a reason why I think that some people may put some restriction. Well, I don't know if it answers that, but may put some restrictions out there, because they're like, okay, the only reason why I'm putting this out here is because I know I perform it, and a magician may see it and put it out on the market and claim it's theirs. So I want to be recognized for the work that I did. So I'm putting it out there, but yet I'm gonna put restrictions on how and where you can perform it. Okay. Now some people may do that. That may be the rationale. I think that a happy medium is, if you want to put something out there and you don't want it being performed by everyone and everyone sees it, I think a happy medium will be, okay, I'm only going to do a limited run of 500 and charge a premium for it. And after those 500 units have been sold, you're not going to put it out there again. And so now only those people, 500 people, are the only ones who can perform this trick. I think that would be I think that's a nice happy medium. So now if your initial concern is that everyone will be performing it, that addresses that by putting a limited run. Much like when in a different way, Wu-Tang Clan put out that one album, that one CD, and that one guy who was
Shkreli.
Yes.
Shkreli, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And to this day, I don't know if he leaked it or not, but hip hop fans are like, yo, we would love to hear this. We would love to hear this. But it's only one. And he's the only one who has it. And there's some restrictions, I believe, on owning that. I think it can only be released or played after the last Wu-Tang member dies, or something like it's some crazy restriction. But it's making that album very valuable, not just monetarily, but for true hip hop heads, and more importantly, fans of Wu-Tang Clan. And you see that with a lot of things, with rare art that people have painted. You know, they do a numbered series. So, hey, you know what? I'm only doing 100 paintings of this. Other than that, that's it. Only 100 original paintings. You may have a copy, but it's not an original painting. Books, it's first printed. You know, anything after the first printing, it's not as valuable as the first as the first printing. If it's a second or third printing of the Encyclopedia of Card Magic, nah, it's not worth any. If it's the first print, yes, because it's a limited number of them out there, and only a limited number of people have access to that.
Well, hopefully the album sucked, and that's why they put it out. We'll never know how bad it sucked that Wu-Tang put one bad album. Maybe that's how they did it. Like they recorded, guys, this actually sucks. But I have an idea.
That's a good marketing employee too. Just to keep their name out there when they did it. That was a good. Look, we're talking about it now, so it was good marketing.
Good marketing.
Yes, it was good marketing. It's brilliant.
They just put a bunch of kung fu clips together and talked over it, and that was it. They called it a day. But
but getting back to the thing, we're seeing this trend in magic, and I'm curious on how common this is going to be. Another reason why I struggle with it, I moved to the middle, is because I don't think that everyone, even though you're in the magic community, you should have access to all the secrets of magic. Some people are just a collector of secrets. Some people, that's all. You know, they buy stuff just to learn how it works. And then it goes in their drawer and their shelf, and that's it. And so I think that takes away from magic. So I put out that part of me. There's been lectures where I walked out because the magician performed a trick, and I was like, I don't want to know. I literally don't want to know. And I'll say, hey, this is not anything about you. You're about to explain the secret, and I don't want to know because I just want to bask in this feeling that I had. So I'm gonna walk out. I normally, whoever I was sitting next to, I'm like, hey, just come and get me when he's done explaining this trick. Just text me or whatever. Because I don't feel as though that I need to know how everything works. And so I get that where some people may put a restriction on a particular trick, whatever that restriction is, a performance restriction, or, you know, there's some products that have been put out there that, hey, it's a license, you know, you cannot share this with anyone or anything. You can do it, but you can't share it with anyone. So that's the other side of it for me, that I will agree with that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've put out a few products over the years, and I do put a disclaimer on it, but it's only, please don't share this with other people without paying for it. I put it out because I want people to perform my stuff. Mm-hmm. I would love to hear that someone performed one of my routines or some of my tricks that I've developed out in public in the real world. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. You know, it's a compliment to see your things performed. And when you put it out, if it's an ego reason, if you put it out there, you know, the magic community always knows that you were the first person to do it.
Right.
You published it. So I mean, a lot of stuff can be traced back to original creators.
And you know what? It can help you out monetarily. If you created a trick, you put it out there, a bunch of magicians purchase it, a couple magicians perform it on national television or local television, or it goes viral of a personal performance you did for a group of people, and someone recorded it, and other magicians see it. They were like, oh, I want that trick. And so they all rush to their favorite local magic dealer and purchase the trick. And next thing you know, you get a nice a check for a trick that just went viral that was on television. So
here's what I haven't. Reggie Rice checked in to say hi, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it comes down to ego and they want credit, like Robin Stacey Williams taking a joke and now it's his. So yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I get it. I
remember the creators when they had discussed this, they had made one point that I thought was really interesting too, and he was like, "Yeah, the one thing I would like to avoid is people kind of taking away the magic moment for the audience before they get to see the trick because they saw it go viral, on TV, and then the second you take out the cards, they go, "Oh, is this the thing that so and so did on that show?" Like, "Oh, did they do this on Kelly Clarkson?" Dang,
that does happen. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate with that, and it's hard for us to know exactly what each and every layperson is thinking. They may make that comment, and they're like, "Oh, is this the trick that such and such performed on Kelly's show?" And they're getting excited, and they're telling their friends who didn't see it, "Oh, watch this trick." They don't tell them what's going to happen, and like, "Oh, you got to see this." So that helps with building up the trick. So some people react like that. Think about. I know this is getting a little bit off, but think about if you go to a concert of your favorite band and they never sang any of the songs that you like. You'll be disappointed.
yeah.
You'll be disappointed. And actually, there was a couple artists who've done that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people expected to hear, you know, some of their songs that they're known for, and the only thing they did was they played new, unreleased material that no one.
Yes, dude. I saw Smash Mouth in 2015, and I was like, "This is it. This is the moment that I get to see All Star played live on a stage." They didn't play All Star not once the entire time they were up there. I was the fool who sat through a 45-minute Smash Mouth concert. So, Randy, I get it.
and that happens with Magic. You know, hey, if you performed and someone's seen you perform before, I even had some clients. They hired me again, but for a different group. And they're like, "Oh, you got to perform this trick that I saw you perform on a previous show. You have to perform that." And I'm like, "Okay, great." I'm like, "Just don't tell them what it is, but I'll perform." So to answer that particular question or address that or play devil's advocate to that, it kind of ruins the moment. We don't know exactly what the spectator is thinking when you're performing a trick and they've seen it before. It's much like another analogy is children's magicians. I mean, children's performers. And a child will say, "Oh, I know that trick." They're not saying they know how the trick is done.
They've seen it before, yeah.
They've seen it before. That's what they're saying.
I will say, and I just thought of this like right now, but the interesting thing, and I don't want to name like the trick in question or anything, but the interesting thing about it is that throughout it, the nature of revealing some of the information might sound similar to people. And so if that ends up being an entire clip that goes out, and pardon me, I have to hop off this call in just a few seconds to go and start a virtual show. But if that clip goes out and then people start seeing that, it may ruin some of the impact that you get from that moment. Maybe.
Yeah, I agree.
Before we get into anything else, I just want to say, buy tickets to Noah's show this Saturday. All right.
Saturday.
He's kicking off the entire month of the Heart and Soul of Magic. It's this Saturday. Go to postmagic.com.
You can see this charming face. I will take a photo of everyone there so we can have photographic memories. I will make the phone vanish because I'm also a wizard. You didn't even know it was about to happen, and we just magicked you. So thank you so much. Tickets are pay what you want, so I accept Bitcoin and Dogecoin, and I used to accept GameStop stocks, but not right now. But it'll be really fun. We'll do a lot of tricks. Vince will be there. Randy will be there. My mom will be there. Not like in the audience, but she will be in attendance probably. So yeah, come see it. Eventbrite.com/NoahSony.
Yes. For those who are viewing, I think this is a great transition to the Heart and Soul of Magic. Noah is, I'm not going to even say he's an up and coming because it seems he's already there. And, he's been around for a while. Noah's a great performer. If you haven't seen him on Penn and Teller, Fool Us, this is the guy that Penn said, I want to be fooled by because he's just so brilliant and talented. So he's going to be performing. He's kicking off the Heart and Soul of Magic in conjunction with Pose Magic this Saturday. Please buy purchase a ticket. It's pay what you want, like Noah said. You're going to get a chance to see Noah. virtually. And I promise you this, hand on heart, I promise you this. You want to see this. It's not just because it's this show and I'm promoting this. I guarantee you want to see Noah now. So you can say, I saw Noah before he became this big superstar. And I'm not joking about this. I'm not joking about this. I promise you. I talk to Noah quite often, don't we? Yeah. And I know what's going on in his mind, his goals, not dreams, because dreams are for when you sleep. His goals that he's actively working on, and the drive, the determination that he has. This is going to. So you definitely want to check out Noah Sony. Entertaining, charming. Totally different type of magician. You're gonna have a great time, and I don't even think I'm gonna do a trick on this show because I don't want this young man upstaging me. So I'm just gonna let him do something and let him do his thing. Let him rock the crowd.
We've already got the crown behind him on the wall, and I get that reference, by the way.
Yeah, he got the crown behind him. That's why I call him Young King. Like, hey, Young King, what's up, man?
Yeah, it reminds me of that scene in. Remember, it was like the third episode of Luke Cage, where Biggie Smalls is up on the. Remember that? He's back there. He has a great pose. Like,
yes. I tried to find a recreation of that painting after seeing that episode, and I could not.
It's all. I had to. I just Googled it. It is available on Etsy. Believe it or not, you can get it. So. Yeah.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored. I mean, if they want to, it won't stop.
Yeah. He won't give you the address until you get Noah's Venmo address, and
yeah, we'll change my name now to the Venmo. No. All right. So I need to sign off, but I really do want to say thank you guys so much. Thank you for everyone viewing. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you, Noah. Appreciate it.
Have a wonderful rest of your chat.
Sure.
Peace out.
Take care, Noah. We'll talk.
Well, we're gonna wrap things up real quick, but let's talk about the what else is coming up for the Heart and Soul of Magic for the rest of the month, and we'll call it a day.
Okay, so the Heart and Soul of Magic. Let me talk a little bit about the origin of this.
Sure, yeah.
The Heart and Soul of Magic was an idea that I had back in the maybe 2000s, early 2000s, where I wanted to bring together African American magicians on stage, and the tagline is honoring the past, recognizing the present, and inspiring the future. And I'm happy to say that it's been going on in that direction for a while, because we honor the past magicians like Frank Brent, Earl Presto Johnson, Patek Sanders. These are the giants that we stand on their shoulders. Then the present magicians contemporary magicians who are out there performing, and then inspiring the future. And these are people like, at one point in time, like Noah, Cameron, RJ, that they could see someone that looks like them and inspire them to become the magicians that they are today. It's normally performed in theaters, but due to COVID, we switched to virtual. We did actually 3 Heart and Soul of Magic virtual shows last year, Pose being one of them. We did one for Anacostia Playhouse, and we did another one for a theater in Delaware. And for Black History Month, we're kicking it off every Saturday in February. It's going to be a different African-American magician. The first 3 Saturdays is the next gen. To start off this Saturday with Noah Sony. Then it's followed up with Cameron Braxton. Then following that is Mervant. And the last Saturday in the month, it's going to be an ensemble show with yours truly, Benjamin Barnes and Jamal Keys. And so we invite everyone to tune in every week. And if you can't, just pick a Saturday that you can tune in. Tell your friends, tell your family. And for those who are concerned, no, it's not going to be political. It's just pure magic, where we're just going to entertain everyone and your families from our home to your home. Anything else, Vince?
Oh no, I think you wrapped it up pretty nice. It's actually perfect. And Randy will be negotiating with Hiawatha to bring him out of retirement.
Man, I would love to bring Hiawatha out of retirement.
Yeah, I'm sure he's still got the skills. You never forget that stuff.
Actually, he does. He does. I mean, he's so incredible. He's so incredible. If I could have Prince Junie come back. Prince Junie is Hiawatha's alter ego, this character that he plays from the Magical Forest. And oh my gosh, that is a great act that he has, Prince Junie.
All right, Randy. Well, I think that about wraps it up. So I want to thank stick around for when I shut down.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would like to thank everyone for coming today. And sorry, I got a little weird in the beginning, but that happens. It
happens.
Crazy weird world we get, and we, we hope that Roy has a little moment, some self-reflection, and becomes a better person. We can always be optimistic, and no one's without opportunities to be better. So, and that's a message that everyone should propagate, I think.
Right. And if Roy is still watching, listening, or anyone who has the same views as Roy, reach out to me. I am open to have a phone call, a conversation. If you're not comfortable with talking on the phone because we have each other's numbers, we could do a Zoom meeting. We could talk this way and we could discuss it. I'm comfortable and I'm glad to have a conversation like that because that's how we're just basically going to learn from each other. So Roy, if you're listening, reach out to me. I'm easy to find, or just contact Pose Magic, and we can schedule a conversation that we can have.
Well, Reggie, you'll have to rewatch the video. That was interesting. But everyone, thank you so much for coming, and we will talk to you soon.
One other thing.
Sure.
I mentioned Young Guns, and Reggie's a young gun to me too, because Reggie's been doing this thing, and unfortunately, once again, COVID hit, and Reggie started blowing up the cruise ship market right before COVID hit. He was taking the cruise ship market by storm. But Reggie managed to pivot and doing virtual shows. I saw his virtual show in his big studio, and it's one of those few magic shows where you see someone actually do illusions and it looks good. And
check your Facebook Messenger real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're listening, there's like a 15-second delay, so I have to give it a moment for him to come in. But yeah, check. I just sent you a message through Facebook Messenger, Reggie, so go check it out. But on that note, we're always optimistic and hope for the best. And we always try to give a message of peace and cooperation out there. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Pose Magic Academy. This was our guest today, my good friend Randy Shine, becoming quickly one of my best friends, if not one of my best friends. Have a good one.
Have a good one, everyone.